Poilievre urges Singh to force fall election, but Jughead says he's not going to listen. And Trudeau says Jughead caved in to political pressure. This is the Great White North Report. For the first time in a long time, our politics is actually interesting. The last couple of elections have been snooze fests, with Andrew Scheer and then that O'Toole trying for the Conservatives. They were just, one was your goofy uncle and the other was your grumpy uncle. Now we got a guy who's a populist, and hopefully he'll do what he says if he gets in, or at least try something different. Common sense would be helpful. I hope they do that. But as you know, last week the NDP pulled out of their their confidence and supply or supply and confidence agreement with the Liberals, simply because I think they know moving forward they're too tied to the Liberal Party and the policies that have caused high inflation, high housing prices, high unemployment, high crime, the immigration problems we're having right now, all can be linked to the Liberal NDP supply and confidence. Those two parties held Canada hostage for the last 2 years at least. So Poilievre says he's going to push forward a non-confidence vote at the earliest opportunity, so when the fall session begins. And he's challenging Singh again, telling Jughead it's time to put up or shut up. Though the Bloc Québécois might support the Liberals just because they're assholes, and do what the Bloc Québécois do to keep, it's in their best interest to keep the Liberals in power as well, I think, even though the Bloc is more far right and the Liberals are more leftist leaning. But the fact the NDP are pulled out doesn't mean anything. They'll still, it's just it could be just for show that they'll no longer support the Liberals. Jughead would rather wait till December and get his pension, or they're waiting for these two ridings, these two by-elections that are going to happen. One of them is an NDP riding, and the other is in Montreal, and it's a Liberal riding. I think Jughead is hoping he's going to take that away from the Liberals and get one more seat in the House and give himself a stronger position, and keep the other seat they might lose. So there's two seats. If the Conservatives take both of them, it's a signal for both Jughead and Trudeau to step down, because they each lose a seat to the Conservatives or to the Bloc, if the Bloc are in that Montreal region. Not really sure. We'll see which way that one flips. The Conservative Party is pretty weak in Quebec right now, so I don't expect a lot of stuff there, because the Bloc Québécois basically act as the Conservative Party for Quebec. They're the far right party, and it does hamper the Conservatives in winning an election. So Poilievre, he said that Jughead must join his effort to bring down the Trudeau government, or see his move to tear up the NDP's deal with the Liberals dismissed as a meaningless stunt. It's put up or shut up time for the NDP. And he's quite right. It is time. Because like I said, the NDP are trying to pull off an upset in the Liberal seat in Montreal, and at the same time hold their other seat, which they've held for a long time. But Poilievre, he thinks that they're trying to trick voters into thinking the NDP isn't closely aligned with the governing party. It still is, basically. Thanks to the NDP, we now have a bigger government, more bureaucracy that we don't need. The NDP want Canadians to come to them. If we have a problem, we come to the NDP and they'll give us all the money we need, thinking that's going to solve the solution. No, people have to solve their own goddamn problems sometimes. Because when you allow governments to try and solve your problems, it usually leads to inefficiency and corruption. That's why one of the reasons why our healthcare system isn't as good as it should be, because too much government interference. The States has excellent healthcare if you can afford it. The idea between free healthcare was so that everyone could afford it. So even these two by-elections won't change much, but it'll show you the barometer of how the country's going. Like some polls have the Conservatives 40 points ahead of the Liberals, and the NDP are sitting at 15%. The NDP are not going to win any election. Jughead is dreaming. He's a fourth-rank party who happened to get a lot of influence thanks to supporting the Liberals. And because they're tied to them, it's going to hurt him in the polls. But he claims he's not going to listen to Poilievre. Jughead knows that if there's an election now, he's going to lose big time. I think he's not going to call an election. He's not going to go for the non-confidence vote simply because his party needs space to distance himself, time and space to distance himself from the disaster that has been the Trudeau government. Create a space so people forget that he was tied too closely to Justine. The fact that he helped Justin ruin Canada. The NDP are the far left party. They're the ones who support Hamas. They allow support for a terrorist organization. The NDP are supposed to be for the workers. They don't support workers. I'm a worker. I work in a unionized place. All of the NDP policies will not help me at all. It'll just raise my taxes. That's all it's going to do. Now, Trudeau claims that Singh and the NDP caved to political pressure and fight against climate change. What does climate change have to do with an election? Yeah, it's called a carbon tax. You're pricing fuel that helps people go to work. The carbon tax has made the cost of fuel very expensive. And they say we get a rebate every month. Well, if we get a rebate, why use it? It doesn't make sense. It just created another bureaucracy we didn't need. New government jobs. And Trudeau thinks that the NDP are playing simple politics and walking away from progressive values. And he blames their caving into pressure from Poilievre and the Conservatives. No, they're not. Jughead needs time and space to distance and hoping he can gain some more political pull by winning these two byelections. So we'll see. But the truth is, like I said, the Conservatives have a 40-point lead over the Liberals in some polls. Probably more closer to 32, 33. Voters are just tired of Trudeau and his pandering and the woke culture. We're sick and tired of all this stuff shoved down our throat. The taxes on and the cost of everything is all can be blamed on Trudeau. That's one of the reasons why he brought his buddy Carney back over to become the special advisor to the economy, which throws Chrystia Freeland under the bus. There was once a time where she was thought to be the successor to Trudeau when he decided to step down. That ship has sailed. She is now just as hated as Trudeau is because of her tax policies and how they've ruined Canada in that sense. She is not well liked. The cost of housing, the cost of food has gone up under her watch as the Minister of Finance. So she is in a dilemma. At their caucus they had in BC, a third of the caucus didn't show up. That's how much dissatisfaction there is with Trudeau in the Liberal Party. They know they're going to lose the next election, and they rats on a ship. But of course, Trudeau being the captain has to go down with that ship. But the crew can get off. One Liberal Liberal MP Alexandra Mendez told Radio Canada she came to this week's Liberal caucus retreat with a message from her constituent. Dozens and dozens of them were adamant the Liberal Party needed a new leader. What's a new leader going to do? Who are you going to pick? The only one I can think of with any credibility at the moment is Melanie Joly. Melanie Joly, however you pronounce her name. She's the only one I can think of right now off the top of my head. She's not doing too bad of a job, but again, when you play musical chairs with ministers, instead of finding the best person for the job, when you go with a woke, diverse agenda instead of an actual competent agenda, then this is what's gonna happen. Musical chairs every time there's a cabinet reshuffle. So Carney comes in an advisory role, but he's a corporate guy. He's worked at a lot of corporations. The NDP are not gonna like that. They're against corporations. The NDP want to put price controls on bread and baby formula. That is not gonna work. You know what's gonna happen? Those companies that make those things are gonna start shorting out things. If they can't make money on a product, because the cost for them to get all the ingredients and the equipment and the employees necessary to make that product, the rising cost is going to force them, and they can't raise their price on these items. What they're going to do is they're going to either discontinue it, move somewhere else, or they're going to start shorting out things. Like for bread, they're going to not put as much flour into it, or they're going to not put so much sugar in it. 25% less sugar. 25% less flour. Or they're going to use ingredients that are not as good. The quality is going to suffer as soon as you put price controls on food. Baby formula, same thing. Our baby formula will turn into something that comes out of China. So that's not looking good for I just want to get the election over with. I think we should have had the election this time, but Trudeau decided to pull a fast election during the pandemic, which was a mistake. But he got away with it, luckily. And we got another minority government because of it. And he extended his mandate by a couple more years. That's all he did. But for me, it's time for Trudeau to go. We need a more common sense approach to our government. Pure and simple. I am tired of the woke, diverse agenda, the cancel culture, all that stuff. That's not for me. That's no way to run a country. And to have our Prime Minister cosplay as all the other minority groups all around the world is not good either. I am Canadian. I'm proud to be Canadian. And to hell with everyone else. I think this Trudeau has destroyed Canadian nationalism to such a degree. And that we'll never see it again. Anyway, any Canadians out there, let me know. Do you think Jughead will accept the challenge from Poilievre? And will he help bring down the Liberal government? And will the Bloc Québécois also join in? It'll be interesting which way they go. Because they could prop up the government for their own benefit. Leave comments in the comment section. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. And until next time, this has been the Great White North Report.